This week on Stay in the Truck, we're going to preview Week 13 of college football. So grab you a cold beverage and let's go. Welcome to Stay in the Truck, the ultimate podcast for sports enthusiasts and avid gamblers alike. Each week we'll provide you with invaluable insights, analysis, and tips to elevate your game. We can be found on all major podcast and social media outlets. See the show notes for details. Stick around to the end to hear this week's most boneheaded sports moments with our Stay in the Truck Awards. So let's jump right into this week's show. All right, boys, rivalry week is here. We have 23 games this week that include a ranked team. It's going to be a great week of football, and let's get started.
And let me just get this out of the way right off the top.
Oh, boy.
Recap.
Yeah, right off the top. So, we've had a lot of great moments at Jordan-Hare the last couple of years. Kick six. We had the miracle at Jordan-Hare. And
Scam Newton.
Scam was just, amazing, man. But last Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern, disaster at Jordan-Hare.
How much did it cost you?
It didn't hurt my pocketbook.
No, it did. It cost you $1.85 million.
It cost them $1.8 million to get that ass whooped, no doubt about it. But look, it was, it was one of my blowouts of the week. It looked like Auburn got back on track the last 3 games. They've been rolling. Everything coming out of the camp was Hugh Freeze and put his hands back on the offense, and he was going to run it, and this and that and the other, and they never led in the game. They went down 7-0 in the first quarter, and they never led in the game. It was a disaster. Peyton Thorne, 17 for 38. He had 38 yards rushing. He had 148 yards passing, 1 touchdown, a QBR of 28.9. He was sacked 4 times. Jaquez Hunter, our stud running back, only had 27 yards. Damari Austin was coming back. He ran the ball 1 time for no yards. I don't even know what happened to him. It was just a total disaster, and I've heard rumors all week long. I've read 2 or 3 different things about that Hugh Freeze really didn't even game plan this. He left it up for his coaches, and he was out recruiting, which is very
not good.
Not good at all. And then, of course, it's your classic look ahead with Bama on deck, but good God, that was terrible. 31-10. Interesting stat. 4 times in the last 40 years, a 24-point dog has won by 3 touchdowns. 2 of them was by Jerry Kill, head coach in New Mexico State. And guess what? 1 was this year, and last year he beat Hugh Freeze at Liberty 49-14.
Oh,
as a 24-point dog. So he got Hugh Freeze back-to-back years.
Oh, my God.
Once at Liberty and once at Auburn. How crazy is that?
That's pretty wild.
So you would think that, what? It's unexplainable.
Yeah, I should probably be ready for this guy.
Now I know how Tennessee and Georgia Tech fans feel. It sucks. It really does suck. But, again, it was just a total disaster, and any way you look at it, they didn't do anything. They were outgained 414 to 213 yards by New Mexico State. Possession of time, New Mexico State held the ball for 39 minutes, Auburn for 21. That is just not supposed to happen. So, but I'm sure all the Alabama fans probably hate it worse than I do, because they're like, oh great, they would have just as soon see Auburn win 50-0, right? But now they got that ass kick, refocus for the Iron Bowl. So we'll see what happens with that. But we're way out, man, to win that game. But crazy things happen.
Indeed, they do.
Well,
so stay in the truck.
Auburn. And Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, maybe that's combo. The recruit y'all were sending me, or the recruit you sent me, or what? Maybe that's what he was out there doing. Trying to lock down some of these 4 and 5 stars. So I guess that's maybe a good trade off. We're bowl eligible after 2 weeks ago after beating Arkansas. Bowl eligible. In the grand scheme of things, like, this loss doesn't bother me like a lot of other losses would, because we're not that good of a football team anyway. Now, no, you're not supposed to lose to New Mexico State, whether you're playing with Jordan-Hare or Las Cruces. Doesn't matter. But we did. If they can come back and be refocused this week and just give Alabama a game, we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll see what happens. So, got a little trivia for you guys. What's the most played FBS rivalry out there? How many years? And who was it?
Georgia Auburn.
It's the oldest rivalry in the South.
Georgia Auburn is third, 128.
It's got to be like a
Michigan,
Ohio
Ohio
State.
State or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, I bet you're right.
So Minnesota, Wisconsin, 132 games.
Oh wow.
What's
Yeah.
number 2?
North Carolina and Virginia.
Oh, surprising.
Yeah.
Well, nobody really considers any ACC team to be playing each other a real rivalry because they don't really count in most of college sports most of the time. And if you're not talking about
Florida State,
basketball,
Miami.
well, but still,
But they're 20 years out of date.
if you're not talking about basketball, nobody cares.
Clemson had,
Which means I don't care.
had their day in the sun there for a little bit.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call that. There's no rivalries.
No, that was Clemson, Georgia. Not
had-
Clemson, South Carolina.
It was
Right.
Clemson and Florida State for,
not inter
2
ACC.
years. But
Yeah.
right, but like long-term rivalries.
Fair enough. Quickly moving on to the Dogs on top, 38-10 over Tennessee. Beck throws for 298 yards, 3 TDs to lead number 1 Georgia over number 21 Tennessee.
I imagine the bookies got killed on that game. I don't know anybody that didn't think Georgia was going to crush Tennessee.
the line went down.
Yeah, the line kept coming down.
They
That's
kept getting
unbelievable.
Tennessee money.
That's unbelievable. I don't know how because every prediction, everybody I heard, everybody I listened to, everybody was on Georgia.
But look, it did the same thing when they played Florida. The line went down. Everybody betting against them, taking the Florida money. Oh, this is the first quote-unquote real team they're going to play. Then the same thing happened when they played
Kentucky.
Missouri.
No,
Ole Miss.
Missouri.
was first.
Ole Miss. Ole Miss. The line went down again. Oh, this is the realest team they play.
They haven't seen an offense like this. Blah blah blah.
Tennessee didn't score in the second half, guys.
No, they did not.
So there was a lot of 40-yard slants,
They
30-yard
got-
slants, and 40-yard passes.
They got lucky and got a field goal in the second quarter.
Yes,
I mean,
right.
After-
he kicked a
after-
field goal.
He pulled a Lane
let's
Kiffin.
let's
Yes,
put this
Lane
into
Kiffin.
let's put it
He
into better
lost the bet.
perspective.
Yeah.
After
Lost the
the
bet to Kirby.
first 11 seconds in the game, they scored 3 points.
Yes, after the
Yeah.
first 11 seconds. That's right.
yeah, that is 100% correct.
Yeah, with 59 minutes and 49 seconds left of the game, they got 3 points.
I told
No.
y'all I was moving the Christmas tree from the basement and come upstairs and turn around and look, and it said 7-0. I'm like, damn, what happened?
Hey, that running back was fast though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he walked off from the secondary. Like I don't know, there was
That's Jalen Wright.
Yeah.
That joker is fast.
He's
now.
fast.
He's a burner.
CJ Allen missed crushing the hole there, and then he just got by him. and it
CJ Allen was on the other side of the ball. Everybody kept They kept saying CJ Allen missed. He was the right side linebacker. The play was on the right side of the offensive line, and the tackle came out and wrapped his arms around him and bear hugged him. So he couldn't even take an angle on it. But the linebacker that was on that side of the ball got hit and knocked right out of the way, and that was it.
Probably Shambliss, isn't that y'all's boy?
No, I don't think he was in yet. It was first play of the game.
Now, look, full marks to Kirby and all the coaching staff and everybody. I mean, look, they got them focused. You can't say they're not focused. Them now, I agree. Like we was talking Saturday night while we were watching the game, y'all are about tired of seeing the team score first, the other opponent score first every game. I understand that.
That was the fifth time, I think.
Fifth time,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. But guess what? If that's all they do, well, hell, I'd take that every game if I was a Georgia fan.
Right.
Yeah. Kirby in his post-game press conference said something to that matter. Like, hey, I'm glad we got it. Let him get it out of the way in the first 11 seconds. Then it was just done with, and we were over it, and we were back into Georgia football. So,
That's like the 7 on the come out roll on the craps table. You get that shit out the way and let's go.
I mean, look, Carson Beck was phenomenal again. 298, 3 touchdowns. It was just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Tennessee only had 130 yards on the ground. And
Georgia's got a bye this week. The Rambling Wreck.
we will preview that in our other
Georgia
podcast.
Tech.
yep. Find the dog show. All right, moving on. Let's jump into Michigan, Maryland.
Yeah, this right here was a little bit closer than what everybody wanted it to be for Michigan fans. But, I mean, I don't think it was ever really like a, oh, my God, this might happen type deal. But it's just really peculiar what's going on with McCarthy. The second half of the Penn State game, they didn't even, they attempted one pass and it was pass interference. So, like he didn't even throw, they ran the ball 32 times. Well, they come out here against this Maryland team, which is supposed to be high octane, but, that is what it is. But McCarthy, 12 for 23, 141 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. Something's up.
Is he hurt?
That's what I.
I'm
Something
wondering if
is
he's got
going
an
on.
injury or shoulder, elbow. Something's going on.
Something. I mean, they leaned on, Blake Curran. He had another great game. He had 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. Good for him. Donovan Edwards stepped in a little bit, but this game low scoring because of the defense that Michigan has. But it's kind of eye opening because I don't know about this Saturday night. You can't. I don't care if you are playing at home. You can't do that against.
Here's what we really have to
gonna
ask,
happen.
right? Because J.J. McCarthy, to start off this season, everybody was talking about. He's
Killing
finally
it.
figured it out. He's the
Yeah.
guy. But has he ever really been the guy?
Oh, I mean,
What was the beginning of the season?
do
Just
I want him on my team? No.
Right.
I mean, I take him
Like,
over Peyton Thorne. Yes,
is
we
he
got the
hurt?
wrong Michigan quarterback.
Is he hurt or just did the real J.J. McCarthy finally stand up? Say, all right, guys, here's the deal. I'm really here, My team around me.
Is it not Harbaugh being there to get him off when he comes off the sideline and say, "Look, you got to do this"?
Probably.
I mean,
Right. Daddy Harbaugh is keeps a tight leash on him. So, little Tagovailoa had a decent game, but he throws those 2 picks.
That's it. That's what he does.
Those 2 turnovers. But the reality, Michigan jumped out. They were all over him, 16-3, and it's 23-10 at halftime. So
over.
they knew they had the game at hand. So in the second half, they're just wasting clock. And, Maryland does come out and score a couple touchdowns in the third quarter, but I don't think Michigan ever really panics. They knew that they could probably do whatever, whenever. And I really think that they're just. I don't think JJ is it, and I don't think he's. I hope he has enough in him to be because there's only 2 things I really love to see more than my teams win is Ohio State and Notre Dame lose, and USC is climbing the chart on that group. I love to see lose too. But so as far as I'm concerned, I think that JJ is still just playing a very average quarter. He's a very average quarterback on an incredibly well-rounded, good football team.
And just to encapsulate the Michigan win there, they are the first program in history to reach 1,000 wins.
Allegedly.
1,000 wins in program history, and Coach Harbaugh was not there to see any of it. So
It might be a little bit fugazi. I know another sportscaster that was dissecting those 1,000 wins this weekend, and one of the ones they take credit for is over Arbor Heights or Ann Arbor Heights High School or some shit like that.
yeah.
From back in the day.
God.
So be a little careful. Be a little careful about saying we won 1,000 games.
well, all those games back in the 1920s, 30s are fugazi.
Leather helmets and
All right, moving on. Jumping into the Florida State North Alabama game, and there is some action that happened in this one that is not good.
Man, I feel bad for the FSU fans.
Jordan Travis is out for this season with a broken lower leg, ending his college football career and his time at Florida State.
So here's the thing. Let's say that they beat Louisville because the backup quarterback is a solid player. He's no bum. And he came in and absolutely destroyed North Alabama this week. After they got off to a slow start with Jordan Travis.
Yeah, they were trailing 13-0 when he went down.
They were losing when he went down. This guy comes in and just absolutely slays them. So let's say that Florida State beats Louisville in the ACC championship game.
And they beat Florida and Louisville, so they're undefeated.
So they're undefeated.
Right.
How's that going to affect the CFP rankings? Are those people going to sit there and say, do we really want to see a Florida State team in the Final Four without Jordan Travis?
Well, so, we're actually recording on a Tuesday night. It's almost 8 o'clock here on the East Coast. We're about to see the rankings for this week come out live. If what you're talking about is going to happen, it's probably going to start happening
This week. Yeah, they've always said they account for injury. They've always said that. Remember when Ohio State was 2013 when old boy went down and Cardale Jones came in? Now they ended up winning everything, but that was like they've always said they account for injury, whether your quarterback's there or he's not there, if he's coming back or he's not coming back. So regardless of that, if they're undefeated, they're undefeated. I mean, I don't know what else.
Next
can
man
you do?
up.
Right. What else can you do?
I mean, yes, you're going to be a 20-point dog to Georgia. If you're the 4 and Georgia's the 1, I mean, I would assume it would be
20?
between 17 and 18. Well, I mean, what would you?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do?
I guess you're right. I mean, Tennessee was started at 11 or something like that. Ole Miss was 13 or 14. Yeah, 15, 18, something like that.
Yeah, you'd have to give me more than 3 touchdowns for me to think about it because
We need webcam on Jeff over here.
Yeah, I'm it's my you see smoke coming off. I start to think about it now. How much would I need? But
Not enough.
yeah, not enough. So, but look, Rodemaker came in, 3 for 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, big touchdown pass to Keon Coleman in the second quarter to get him rolling.
How good is Keon Coleman?
Oh God, he's good. He's real good.
I mean, him and Johnny Wilson. What about Franklin?
He's good.
Man, some of these receivers coming out, these guys are going to be special. As I've always said, they get the right coach, the right program, and the right offensive package. Because I fully believe as a player that when you get put in the wrong system, there's no telling how many players have gone to the NFL and got put in the wrong system and never made a career that could have been better than so many who did. So.
Yeah. Well, he jumped Ohio State back over Michigan.
Is Washington going to jump right here over Florida State?
You would think so.
We got Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, and number 4. Dun, 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 dun.
Pat ain't gonna like this.
What's going to happen?
Why don't we wait till this hits 4, and if it's Washington, then we can jump into the Washington game.
That's right. Before we move into that, though, quick shout out while we're talking about Florida State. Going to be facing Louisville in the ACC championship game. Quick shout out to Louisville, knocking off a mediocre Miami team this weekend to secure their spot in that ACC championship game. So,
so when we was talking about the point spread, like what does Jordan Travis do to the point spread? Washington did jump them. I'll be damned.
There it is.
They jumped them.
Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and Washington.
Almighty.
All right, there you go. Washington takes the number 4 spot, and
Florida State's 5.
You're right, Chris. You called it.
Injury hurt him.
You know, Jordan Travis had a great season, and I really hope he heals up and gets ready for the next level. So
it sucks for college football. It really does, because you want to see the best teams, best players make it at the end, be there in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that make these other players on this team feel when one guy can knock you out of the possible playoff contention?
Hey, but you know what? That'll change if they continue to roll and this quarterback comes in and they just beat the dog shit out of Florida, and then they roll into the AC championship game and they thump Louisville by double the point spread or triple the point spread, which is very likely.
But
because they got a solid, complete team.
But you know what that tells me right there?
Washington's going to lose to Oregon.
But if they don't,
Washington gets it.
and the ACC's left out.
Washington's got to win this weekend.
The only way that doesn't happen now.
I'm so sick of them barely getting by. Fuck Washington and their fucking 2 points of.
Calm down, bro.
I'm sick of it, man.
Fugazi. I told you they've been
They win by. They have gotten so lucky this year.
Well, they came out versus Oregon State and scored 22 points in the first half, and then chose not to score at all in the second half. So,
yeah,
Oregon State almost came back and beat them.
Yeah, it's Penix 162, 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, DJU does what he does in big games: 0 touchdowns and 2 picks. It is what it is.
Well, all I can say is that they better be glad Washington State has a god awful defense. Because I think Cam Ward is going to come out and try to
Oregon State.
I think they're live. No, Washington.
They're playing
Okay.
Washington. They're playing their in-state rival, Washington State, this weekend. We'll talk about it in a minute, but they better be glad Washington State's defense is shit.
I mean, look, I don't want to try to kill Michael Penix because I think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah, and he's got a good arm.
He's got a good arm. You know,
accurate.
That lefty is hard to find like that. You don't see a lot of that. Now, with Jordan Travis not playing for Florida State, you know what? That might give Washington the edge over Florida State. I'd have to go back and look at all my numbers, and I didn't even update them by tonight. But I would probably still have, Jordan Travis is worth about 6 points to a power ranking, and between 5 and 8 points to a point spread, just depending on neutral field or whatever.
Yeah, in 2 weeks we're going to be having this conversation, but it's not going to be about Washington and Florida State.
Oregon.
It's going to be as a one-loss Oregon team and a top Heisman contender, Bo Nix, better than Florida State.
And then Texas is getting left out.
Golly. That's only if Georgia beats
and
Alabama.
And then the Big Ten people are going to be pissed when Michigan or Ohio State gets out. But it is what it is. Yeah. It is what.
Is there a chance Ohio State and Michigan both go with a one loss? I mean, if it's a really close game, if it's a 2-point game on a field goal at the end of the game, you're going to have the winner ranked number 1, probably because that one win is going to give them enough to boost over Georgia, right?
That's bullshit.
Yeah, let's say they win, they get the number 1, especially if it's Ohio State. So if Ohio State beats Michigan, Then it's close game. You got Ohio State 1. Let's say Georgia edges out Alabama. They go to 2. Then we have the fight for number 3. Is it going to be Oregon? Is it going to be a one-loss Michigan to a number 1 Ohio State? Is it going to be Florida? That's where it's going to get crazy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
I don't
gonna be
think
a Big
Texas
12
is in the
Texas champion.
conversation.
I think they are if they win the Big 12.
They have to be. They beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. I mean,
But
it is what
barely
it is.
gotten by so many other games. They're the Washington of the Big 12, though. They're just
Chris, but Alabama only beat Arkansas by 3 points.
Alabama was struggling earlier in the year. They're
I'm talking about
killing
3
folks
weeks
now.
ago, though. I mean, they beat Bama in Tuscaloosa.
Listen.
I don't think they would beat them now in Tuscaloosa or in Josh's backyard.
Right, but that's the conversation, right?
I know.
It's not going to matter. Georgia's going to beat Alabama.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
hope
But
you're
you know,
right.
I mean,
This is all a moot point.
But as Georgia fans, we're all much more aware of the Saban Smart rivalry that is developed, and it's a friendship and it's a brotherhood, but it's a rivalry, and it can go either way at any minute, anytime.
That's just like this Iron Bowl this weekend. I know Jeff's talking about how bad Auburn got beat last week, but they always seem to get up for this game, so it's the same deal.
They better get on something.
All right. Well, speaking of Washington, they made it number 4. They had a good win this weekend, even though
Shitty weather. My God, it was raining sideways.
the weather
It was
sucked.
nasty,
The
man.
receivers were dropping balls. It was
They didn't score any points in the second half, but
Nope.
it was
they squeaked it out.
DJ showed up. I mean, he threw a couple picks, but he still showed up and kept them in the game. Living on this side of the country where we watch a lot of ACC and SEC football, and we're very familiar with his semi-rise and great fall at Clemson. There's just no way you can get behind the Oregon State team with him leading the charge.
no way.
Because we know that he's going to, no matter how good the team is, because this is a good Oregon State football team.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that they are stuck with Clemson's reject quarterback. So, you give them a solid quarterback. You give them the kid from Utah.
What if they had Bo
You give
Nix?
them the pig farmer.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The pig farmer from Utah. Because
Yeah, yeah, over-
because
yeah, yeah.
he's not
The
going
Bryson
to
Barnes,
because
right,
he's
yeah.
not going to lose it for him.
Exactly.
Take Bryson Barnes and put him on that Oregon State team. They might be 10-1.
Could be.
So
They wouldn't have lost to Washington State. I still don't know how the hell that happened.
no. So
All right, let's move on to the James Madison App State game. James Madison, they had game day at home. They had their appeal going on,
They got denied.
got denied, and then App State denied them as well. App State has a history of ruining great seasons.
But it's like Chris said earlier. Don't ever schedule App State when game day is coming to your house, because they're dream crushers, man.
They are dream
dream
killers. So, can you guys name the 6 unbeaten teams right now in college football?
Michigan, Ohio
Yes.
State, Florida State, Georgia, Washington, and
This is the tough
Liberty.
one.
Liberty.
Liberty, yep. And, oh, by the way, Michigan or Ohio State will be unbeaten until this weekend coming up. So one of them's going to fall.
One of them's got to go.
all right, so let's say Ryan Day, who's 55-4 against everybody he's ever faced in college except for Michigan, where he goes 1-2.
Yeah.
How about that? He's only lost 4 games to every other team combined.
Do you know they were last year when he lost to Michigan? They were talking about his job,
Yeah, and he's 55-4 against the rest of the country.
and he's a Marvin Harrison concussion away from winning the national championship.
Right, thanks to Javon Bullard.
Yes, but when they talked when
Good job,
he
John.
lost to Michigan, they were talking about, okay, is he really the guy for the job? I mean,
I know several schools that would love to have him.
hell yeah,
Texas A&M being one of them.
yeah.
So here's what I'm thinking. Washington is if they somehow, which I don't think they're going to beat Oregon, but let's say they squeak by the Oregon game. Bo Nix breaks his leg coming out of the tunnel, and Washington gets a win. So if they squeak in, they're going to be this year's TCU. They're going to be 4. The winner of the Ohio State-Michigan game is going to be number 1. Let's say it's Ohio State. They got a super good defense this year.
They do.
For the first time. They got the best defense they've had. If this defense was with any of the past 3 quarterbacks, they would have won half a dozen national championships.
Yeah.
So what's the line going to be on Ohio State-Washington?
Ohio State will be
17?
probably north of 7.
I mean,
Probably
I know 17's a
7.
little
I mean-
bit. I know 17's a little bit aggressive, but I think they win by 17. I think they'll win by 2 touchdowns.
Well, I don't.
Because Washington does.
No, you take away their receivers, they can't run the ball.
No, they got their defense is meh.
Yeah, I mean it's not.
Pac-12 defense.
Yeah.
So
No, I mean look, whether it's Washington, Texas, or Florida State, they're going to be dogs to whoever they play. They'll be underdogs to whoever they play.
Yeah, agree on that.
You know, now Oregon's a little bit different, but I do think Oregon would be a slight underdog to Georgia. But Ohio State and Oregon might be a pick 'em, and they might be favored over Michigan.
we'll see.
They might be favored over Michigan.
I think. Well, we're going to be talking a lot more about it after Oregon spanks Washington.
Yeah, but that right there, though, that really bothers me because there's no way Florida State gets left out if they win the ACC undefeated. You cannot do that. Can't do it. You can't do it. We don't even know how good this kid is, Rodemaker. I mean, he was a top recruit coming out in whatever it was, 2018, whatever it was. He committed to South Florida, and then when Norvell got the job, that was like his first go. That was like the one he went to go guy. You know, he's a junior from Valdosta. I mean,
Norvell recruited this guy hard.
Yeah, he went and got him,
and then took him with him when he right.
Yeah. So I mean, we don't. That's just I know we don't have to worry about this next year. Next year is going to be sure enough off the chain. But that right there,
he's got 2 games to show the world that they deserve to be there.
That almost tells me that Texas ain't got a shot no matter what.
They're not even mentioning.
I mean, that really tells me that if they're going to do that to Florida State, and again, I know we talked earlier about they do account for injuries and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Texas, I'm afraid Texas ain't got a shot. I really don't think they do. I don't.
Here's how Texas has a shot. Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game. Now you got a 1-loss Georgia, a 1-loss Alabama, and a 1-loss Texas, and Texas has beat Alabama, who beat Georgia. Does Texas get in and nobody from the SEC makes it?
That's what I think happens, yes.
No way. The SEC champions win.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean,
not with Texas beating Alabama. Bring on that 12-team playoff.
Here's
ASAP.
what I know. I know that we're likely, if a few things fall in place, we could have about 7 one-loss teams.
Yeah. You could have some chaos if Washington State
outside of Ohio State, Michigan, because somebody's got to be undefeated. Because after this, they don't have a championship game in their conference. So after this game, one of them's still going to be undefeated. But all the other teams, we could have 7 one-loss teams.
They'll play Iowa. Whoever wins that game,
I'm going under.
Iowa will play the winner of Ohio State.
I know, but I don't really consider that to be.
And look, both of them's like 20-point favorites.
Yeah.
No matter which team it is.
All right, boys. Before we jump into the games this week, let's talk about Tennessee's quarterback situation. Are they going to let Joe Milton play this last game against Vandy and play the bowl game and send him off with his senior year finishing up? Or is Tennessee going to see the light and move on to their $7 million man out of California? Here's the deal. You can only play in 4 games and keep your red shirt. I don't know why anybody cares, because if you think the kid's going to stay there for 4 or 5 years and play out his entire career without going into the draft, I think you're out of your mind. But they want to keep his red shirt. He played in 3 games this year. So technically,
bowl game doesn't count.
The bowl game doesn't count. So technically, he can play the entire Vandy game and the bowl game really and start really preparing for next year. Or they can keep him sidelined so that next year he's under the lights for the first real time as a starter.
Do you think he'll hit the portal?
I think if they don't play him the next 2 games, that.
But who do they have though? Milton's gone, right?
I think he'll shop. Yeah, but he might shop around.
Yeah, he might already been. He's probably asking, why in the hell can't I play right now?
Like at Oregon.
I wonder
Auburn.
if Milton.
Yeah, Auburn. I mean,
Auburn needs him.
Auburn.
I'll tell you, y'all can.
Oregon would be a nice spot to go fill in for Bo Nix.
Mark the tape. If Peyton Thorne is our starting quarterback next year, I will not watch one single game they play. I promise you that.
Oh,
we're going to get you some new shirts that don't have Auburn logos?
No.
You're going to have to change your whole wardrobe up.
So I think this is my prediction. I think Milton starts the game, and then I think Nico plays the rest of the game.
Like Milton gets a quarter?
Just as a, hey.
He gets a series, gets a quarter. What's he get?
I give him the first quarter.
Give him the first quarter?
Yeah, but, I mean, they're going to a bowl game, so they're going to let Joe play in the bowl game. That's what's going to happen. They're going to let him play. It's the last college football game he's going to play. He's going to play. It's frustrating. And, another one that's going to be really for our Arkansas buddies, Cole and Michael, Magic Michael, KJ Jefferson. He's eligible to come back next year. And I was reading today and heard a podcast about it too, about they got the kid over there. Let me find his name real quick. I got it.
Would you have KJ at Auburn?
No, absolutely not. KJ's eligible to come back. They got Jacoby Criswell, who played against Auburn. He ran the ball. He played against Ole Miss. He's a really good quarterback. But what they're saying is it'd be interesting to see if KJ even starts this game Friday against Missouri. If he does, then they're thinking, okay, he's coming back. But if he doesn't start and Criswell gets to start, then KJ's hitting the portal.
So I saw something else where one article, I think one of you guys may have sent it out, where Cam Rising's coming back to Utah next year.
Yeah, 7th year. He's back, which is, I meant to bring that up because we've been talking about that. What the hell? What happened? What happened?
Maybe they got enough players coming back that they realize that if Cam plays next year, they got a real shot at it. And
they're Big 12 next year?
The other thing is, if they do that, does that give them a year to redshirt Bryson Barnes to save some eligibility? Because they think that maybe he is the future. Maybe he can be the guy. He just needs a little more work, a little more growth.
But why didn't he play this year? That's what I want to know.
Eligibility. Did he have to? Because you can do is there an injury
Was it a medical red shirt?
Medical red shirt?
There's a what do they call it? They gray shirt him or something? It's really crazy to me because, coming out of last year and him not playing this year, they thought that somebody gave him scout news about he was going to be, drafted and whatever. But obviously something happened and they told him, hey, your best bet is to play again.
I'd be willing to bet. I just looked it up. I'd be willing to bet that they gave him a medical red shirt this year. And
but now the NCAA has to sign off on that. The school just can't do it.
I mean, how old is he though?
Hell,
he's a
this is
senior.
7th year.
How old was Stetson?
Right.
He was at Texas before he was there, so
Right. So
he's probably older than Stetson.
He's same age as our guy at Rice,
31.
JJ Daniels. All right. Let's talk about Auburn, Alabama. Jeff, give us a scoop on the Iron Bowl, baby.
Well, Auburn's catching 14.5, and I don't know if that's enough or not. If we trot out Peyton Thorne, which I guess we are, Robbie Ashford didn't even get to play last week, so you talking about trouble.
Well, you'll have Gary Danielson on the call, so you won't be getting any love from him as an Auburn Tiger.
Yeah, mute.
He'll be lapping up the Bama mullets.
I know you want to say it politely, but it's going to be an ass whipping.
It's going to be an ass whipping.
Yeah,
it is.
You're going to get fucking shellacked.
Yeah, it's
Nick
blowout
Saban's-
of the week.
Yeah, probably.
Nick
probably.
Saban's trying to prove a point, trying to get his team in the playoff.
I mean, we lost to him last year. 49 to what was it? Yeah, 27 to 49. It really shouldn't even been that close. They were kicking our ass pretty much in the whole second half of the game. It could have got real bad, ugly.
Yeah, you'll be lucky to get 10, maybe 13.
I don't know how we score.
Alabama gets 33.
How do we stop them? I don't know. We can stop them.
Nah, you can't. You're done. Toast.
How do we stop him?
That's a 3:30 game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just fucking bet Alabama to cover. Don't even watch the game. Collect your money.
And then you come hang out with us and watch the Georgia game.
All right. Moving on to Oregon and Oregon State.
Yeah, this is the 127th meeting between these rivals. This ranks like number 4 overall, and they're playing for the Platypus Trophy.
I bet
you can't beat a good Platypus Trophy.
I bet you this is, out of all 127 meetings, this is probably the highest both teams have been ranked during one of those meetings.
I would think. I mean, now,
I can't remember like a number 11 Oregon State and number 6 or I mean, I know Oregon's been higher than 6 before, but I can't remember.
And Washington wasn't good. Don James was there in the 80s and 90s, and they were, playing for a national championship. But Oregon, I don't even know if they had a football team back then.
Oregon's
Right.
favored by 13.5 points. Over and under is 62.5.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I learned my lesson last week, thinking that Dan, I don't kick Lannon was going to take it easy on his buddy killing Dillingham, and he hung 49 on him. And Bo had 8 touchdowns.
8?
Or 6, I'm sorry, 6 touchdowns.
6 touchdowns, yeah.
Yeah, Daniels had 8. We're going to talk about that Heisman deal in a minute. But, Oregon State's coming off a very, very – we talked about spots last week, okay? Teams playing, and they played their guts out. They lost. They put everything they had in that game against Washington, and now they got to go to
get up again.
They got to go to Oxon Stadium and play them Ducks, man. And look, I'm still pissed off Dan Lannon isn't coaching at Jordan Hare over there, but he got them rolling, man. He's got them rolling. They're a machine right now. And we see teams like Georgia, for instance, the last 3 or 4 games have really they got the best offense in the nation.
Yeah, they've come on strong, no doubt.
And Oregon is right there with them. And look, they really do score when they want. I mean, that's when you watch them play. It looks like now the USC game was kind of what happened?
Fugazi.
What happened here? But they went out last week on the road to Arizona State, and they don't play good at Arizona State. But guess what?
Bad Bo
Was good Bo, real good Bo.
Hung 49 on them.
Yeah,
without sweating.
yes.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and play some flag football. Score 7 times.
I mean, the Bees got their hands full.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so this is the truth. This week of betting college football is always my worst week. I don't hardly bet bowl games because I know I suck at those. But this week right here, because you see these teams and you want to think they're favored for a reason, right? But it's a rivalry game, blah, blah, blah. But they're so good and so bad. These teams are so bad. So
that's like you were talking about just Auburn getting blown out. Auburn's going to play Alabama tough. They're probably going to lose, but they're still going to play them tough just because they're supposed to this week.
No.
It's rivalry week.
They just got their ass handed to them by New Mexico State.
Yeah.
It's fine.
we have Peyton Thorne quarterbacking. We got Peyton Thorne. Peyton freaking Thorne.
No, they're done. All right, let's talk about this Oregon game. Oregon is going to drill Oregon State. They're going to put up fucking 60 probably or close to it. And Oregon State might score a couple touchdowns, get close to 20. I think that this game is going to be an absolute blowout. I think you might call blowout of the week on this game right here. Oregon's favored by 13.5. But I think this one can get ugly. I got a feeling it just might get ugly because coming off that game against Washington, Oregon State's defeated. They know the game doesn't really mean much. They're playing at Oregon. It's just a recipe for disaster for those guys.
Ukulele's going to throw about 6 picks.
Oh, yeah. He's going to try.
I don't see Oregon having any problem.
Is there a prop bet? Is there a prop bet on DJ throwing as many interceptions as he throws touchdowns this weekend? If there is, take it.
The weather looks good. 40 degrees at kickoff. I don't see why Oregon would have any problem taking care of business here.
Nah, they're going to roll. This is going to be a drumming.
All right, let's move on to number 4, Florida State. Actually, number 5, Florida State versus Florida.
Let's get to some warm weather.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Florida State has already clinched, and they're going to be facing Louisville in the ACC championship game. But both of these teams' quarterbacks are not playing this week.
Yeah, and Florida still doesn't have a defense. So, look, they beat Tennessee in the Swamp, week 3 or 4 or something? That's the highlight. That's the highlight of their season. Whether it's Jordan Travis or Tate Rodemaker, Florida can't stop anybody, man.
They damn near upset Missouri.
But they didn't.
They didn't.
And that's another thing. They put everything that they put everything they had in that game. And Graham Mertz goes down.
Fractures his collarbone.
Yep.
He goes down in the 4th. It was an all-out battle at Missouri. They were on the road. Now they're coming home to... Yeah, it's going to be another disaster for them.
Yeah,
this might be a 3-touchdown game.
Yeah, well, Florida State, I don't see them really putting up a lot of points against FSU anyway. So, Max, I don't know what Max Brown's going to do, but I don't think he's going to do a whole lot. We gave Graham Mertz hell all through the offseason, but we were wrong on that. He's been really, really good.
He actually
this year.
played really well.
Yeah, he's been really good this year. So without him, they got
shit. He's got 2,900 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 3 picks on the year. Playing with a half-ass offensive line.
Oh yeah.
He does have a pretty good running back.
Yeah, he's got 2 good running backs.
Montrell
and Etienne.
He's got a couple of great receivers.
Pearsall's awesome.
He does have some talent around him, but he doesn't have a full, complete team.
Nope.
So
Sunbelt Billy might be coaching his last game.
He does have 62 carries for negative 74 yards rushing, though, so he's keeping up the Graham Mertz way.
Nice.
He's got a burner.
For a career, he's got 187 total carries for negative 95 yards.
There you go.
Yeah, come on.
But, really, this might be Napier's last job at Florida.
Well, Florida State's only favored by 6.5, but I really think that it's going to be a beatdown.
And I think a lot of that's just the unknown because the bookmakers,
quarterbacks,
they really don't know what to think about Rodemaker. But this will give them a decent data.
He brought him back last year against Louisville.
Yeah.
He came in this game last week down by 2 touchdowns and scored a boatload of points.
He's capable.
Like, he's comfortable.
Yeah.
He's
capable. He knows the offense.
He's not going into a game with an unknown, oh my gosh, I've never played,
Do you think they drop Napier after this year?
Why would you keep him? Now, I don't know who you hire. I can't tell you that.
I mean, if Florida does
I heard Urban Meyer's available.
Florida does not go 5-7 and keep their coach. Not again.
No.
So
well, the fans didn't want him anyway.
Yeah, they're not a big fan.
They didn't want Sunbelt Billy anyway.
There's not a whole lot of great coaches out there, though. All right, let's move on to the Apple Cup in the state of Washington, where apples are world famous.
Well, Cam Ward's going to try to bring the high-powered offense and optional defense to Husky Stadium.
God, their defense is so bad.
Their defense is god-awful. How did they beat Oregon State?
I mean,
that is amazing.
Because it's DJ.
Well, that's true.
DJ sucks. Michael Penix ain't going to give them the opportunities DJ gives them.
Hold on now. Washington just upset the Colorado Buffaloes last week.
Washington State.
Or Washington State.
And they got UCLA. They got UCLA right before that. So they're playing better. What happened
coming around
for that 5 or 6 game stretch? I don't know. I mean, something went totally off the rails.
They can't stop anybody.
Well,
I mean, those games they lost, they gave up 38, 42, and then they lost 10-7 to Stanford.
It's so weird, man.
This is a team that started ranked in the top 10 this year, whose quarterback was in the Heisman conversation. So they've got some talent, and I think they're going to be able to score, and I think they're going to get some first downs. I mean, I think it'll be a high-scoring game, but they don't have the defensive capability to slow Washington down enough to give themselves an opportunity to even capitalize on in the first place.
And Cam Ward can't give Penix extra opportunities.
And he will.
If he does,
He'll give them a few.
we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Now look, think about this scenario.
42 to 36 game or something.
Think about this scenario. Wazoo pulls the upset. Then you got a Washington team that has played their ass off all year, right, for everything. That's got to go face Oregon and Las Vegas coming off a loss to Washington State. How would they perform?
I have to confess, deep down in my heart, I think Washington State might pull off the upset, and I'm trying to badmouth it so that I can create some juju on it. I'm hoping.
Well,
I think they're live.
yeah.
Because
I want Washington State to win just because I want every undefeated team to win.
Listen,
to
Washington,
lose, but
Washington just came off a battle at Oregon State. This is a home game for them.
Yeah.
But no matter what happens, if this game is remotely close and turns into a real rivalry battle, Oregon is going to fucking destroy them next week. It's going to be that how do you get up 2 times in a row?
3 times in a row.
3 times in a row, and they're just going to get beat down.
Because they have to be, if they're not up for this game, if they're overlooking their quote unquote rivals or whatever.
Yeah, if they're looking ahead to Oregon.
Watch out. And then they have to get up next week.
Oh, yeah. Let's go, Cam Ward. Here's the deal. I don't think they can do it. I think Penix is going to be too strong. I think they might even win by 2 touchdowns. But I'm hoping that we got a battle. And I'm hoping that somehow Cam Ward redeems himself and shows people why he was in the conversation to start the year.
I will tell you, I didn't realize Washington State was top 10 when the year started. Where did they start at?
Somewhere up there. I mean,
yeah, I didn't realize they were that high ranked at the start of the season.
At one point in time, Cam Ward jumped up to second favorite to win the Heisman.
Yeah.
Only behind Shador.
Right out the gate, he came out firing.
Well, I say that, but the third favorite. Caleb Williams was the favorite for
Yeah.
5
You know,
weeks. Yeah.
But you kind of throw that out because you know they're not going to give it to them 2 years in a row.
Well, Washington State lost 5 in a row.
That's what I'm saying. It went off the rails, man, and it went bad off the rails.
So no, they lost 6 in a row. They were 4-0 and lost 6 in a row. Unbelievable.
All right, moving on. Let's jump into the biggest rivalry game this week, arguably.
This is the biggest game of the year. Yeah, we got number 2 Ohio State going into Ann Arbor to play number 3 Michigan. Michigan is favored by 3.5 over and under 45.5. And the winner of this game moves to win the Big Ten East and will play the Iowa Hawkeyes for the Big Ten Championship.
And will be favored by 20-plus points, whichever team it is.
And, oh, by the way, Michigan has won the last 2 years in a row in this big game here.
Yeah, I was going to score like 10 points in the
Maybe.
in the championship matchup. So as long as you can put up 11, you're good.
So can Michigan three-peat?
I had my doubts, man. I was all on board until I saw what I saw last week, and I didn't like that at all. I didn't like that at all. Again, whether we don't know if JJ's hurt, McCarthy, we don't know if he's hurt or what's going on, or if he misses Harbaugh that much. But I did not like what I saw last week. Now, all that being said, that was coming off of Penn State, emotionally huge for Michigan. You know, they had Harbaugh's eulogy at the end of the game.
Alligator tears.
You know, so. We'll see.
I fucking love you, man.
Jeff said, did Harbaugh die?
Well, that's what they acted like. But they do get him at home, right? And, you know, this line, it come out at 5.5, and it's bet all the way down to 3.5 now. I think the total's, 46.5 or something like that? And that might even be too high, to be honest with you. So I would expect a really close game. I would, it's going to be hard fought physically. Who trusts Kyle McCord, quarterback at Ohio State? Do you really trust him? It's about like watching Drew Aller from Penn State. What's he going to do? Marvin Harrison. We'll see. I mean, yeah, he shows up. He shows up in big games. He gets touchdowns or whatever. But you know, is Travion Henderson? Is he going to run the ball for Ohio State? Can he run against this defense from Michigan? He couldn't do it last year. So. As much as I want to see, I hate both of them. God, I hate both of them. I'd rather see Michigan win here. But I can't lay 3.5. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Not after what I saw last week. And for whatever reason, how that offense has regressed in the last month is crazy, man.
I feel like these teams are just ones looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
I
like
mean,
the Spider-Man
I think the
thing.
quarterbacks are equivalent. J.J. McCarthy gets more credit, but I don't think he's any better.
I don't either.
I think they're both slightly above average quarterbacks.
I'd take them over Peyton
I think they
Thorne.
both got good defenses. They both play good on the front lines.
Yep.
They both got good running games.
They don't turn the ball over.
And they don't turn the ball over. So you've got two teams. That's why you can't. This is as close to a pick game. I think the only reason, obviously, Michigan's getting favorites because it's in the big house.
Their own.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like this is the closest pairing of two identical teams that we're going to see. Because even the quarterbacks have a similar style. You know, they're not.
And I don't feel like either one of these teams can win the national championship. I tell you that right now. I don't feel like they can. I don't think Kyle McCord, even with the defense Ohio State has, I don't think he can beat Georgia, and I don't think he can beat Bama, and I don't think they can beat Oregon. Either one of them, Michigan included. I don't think they can.
I think this game comes down to who can protect the ball best. The big turnover will probably that's going to be the
whole
deal. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, let's jump into our picks from last week. Josh, what you got?
All right, I was 3-2-1 last week.
Another winning week.
I took Colorado and the 5 points to stay close to Washington State. They got their ass absolutely drug up and down the field and curb stomped by Washington State. The game was never even close.
You got one game left, Josh.
It was 42-7 or something ridiculous at the half. I took Mizzou to beat Florida by more than 11, but they did win the game, but they just barely pulled out the victory, 33-31. I pushed on the Washington-Oregon State game. I had 2 points, but they won 22-20. And then I won Clemson, Georgia, and Louisville, all winning and covering the points. So 3-2-1 last week. That brings me to 21-10-1 on the year.
All right. So I won 2 and lost 1 this week. I had the Georgia Bulldogs covering over Tennessee. Won that one. Washington versus Oregon State. I had Washington in the points. Washington covered that 22-20. And then Florida and Mizzou. I had Missouri winning that game, and they did not cover, so I lost that one.
First week under 500 for me in a while. 4-5 this week. I don't really want to talk about it much more than that. I was 4-5.
All right.
Well, I was 2-3 again. Blowouts of the week was 1-1. Thank you, War Eagle. Louisville had a pick. Yeah, they got back. They got past Miami, and I bought in on the Arizona State love, getting 23.5, just thinking that Dan, I don't kick Lannon, won't kick his friend's teeth in, but he did, 49-13. Kentucky, my God, what in the hell? What are you doing?
They've checked out.
They had them beat and let it get away and lost 17-14. My God. So that was a loss. I had the Iowa State plus a 7.5, and that got all foobarred up at the end, and Texas wins 26-16. LSU minus 31.5. They cover 56-14. Then we had the blowouts of the week. Auburn minus 24. That game got bet all the way up to 26.5. Auburn loses 31-10. And I had UGA minus 11.5 against Tennessee, and we all know what happened there.
So, Jeff, while you got the mic, go ahead and give us your this week's picks, please.
This week, week 13, we're going to start off.
Under 26 with Iowa.
Oh, that one, that was a cash, yes. That's pod, that's pod rules. This week, we're going to start on Thanksgiving night, 7:30 ESPN, the Egg Bowl. Ole Miss rolls into Mississippi State, which this was Coach Leach's last game he coached last year, and he got lamed by 2 points, so R.I.P. to Coach Leach. But this is a different year.
I was about to say, that's not going to happen this year.
This is a different year. As a road favorite of 10 or more, Ole Miss is 7-3 ATS against the spread. Mississippi State, when they play a team that averages 36 or more points, they're 2-9-1 in their last 11 games or the last 13 games against the spread. Oof. As an underdog of 10 or more, they're 2-8 against the spread. Mississippi State at home conference games 6-14 against the spread. And just to top it off, when they play on Thursday nights, they're 2-8 against the spread. I'm going to take the lane train and lay the 10.5. Then we're going to go to Friday at 12 o'clock. Sleepy spot here from Miami. Sleepy spot. This is one of the spots we talk about all the time. Miami's just been struggling. They bitched TVD, and Williams broke his arm or whatever it was, and they had to put TVD back in, and they get beat last week by Louisville. So now they get the prize of going to Chestnut Hill on a Friday afternoon after Thanksgiving. It's going to be 32 degrees, 15-mile-an-hour winds. Miami's laying 9 as a favorite. They're 2-8 against the spread. In conference games, they're 3-12 against the spread. And with head coach Mario Cristobal, 7-16 against the spread. Boston College, for the year they're 6-5, so they're bowl eligible. They fight hard. When they play ACC teams at home, they're 12-8 against the spread. As an underdog of 7 or more, they're 4-1 ATS. I'm gonna take Boston College and the 9 points here, and this is one of them hold your noses and hope it don't get out of hand. Next game, we're gonna go again Friday at 12 o'clock. Toledo, Central Michigan. Toledo is laying 10.5 on the road at Central Michigan. Central Michigan's fighting for bowl eligibility here. Jason Kendall, the head coach at Toledo, this is not a spot he's good at. When they're favored by 10 or more points, they're only 9-14 against the spread. On the road, 3-8, and they've only covered three of their last 9 games. Meanwhile, Central Michigan, they play top 25 opponents pretty good, 6-1 against the spread, and when they're at home as an underdog of 10 or more points, they're 15-9. Give me Central Michigan plus 10.5. We're gonna go again Friday at 4 o'clock. CBS, Mizzou travels to Arkansas. Missouri's beat them 6 out of the last 7 years. Arkansas, they've been struggling bad. Just got the news that Rocket Sanders, running back, out for the year. Got questions about KJ Jefferson. Will he play or not? Don't know. Arkansas's defense gives up 26.1 points a game. Missouri's laying 7. And as road conference favorites, they're 6-1 against the spread. And as a favorite of 7 or less, they're 10-5 against the spread. Meanwhile, Arkansas at home, after a straight-up win, 3-12 against the spread. And at Razorback Stadium, in their last 5 games, they're 0-5 against the spread. Give me Missouri minus the 7. Got another Friday night game. Friday afternoon. Friday at 4 o'clock. Air Force travels to Boise to take on the Broncos. Boise is a 6.5-point favorite. Air Force is 8-3 on the year. They lost their last 3 games in terrible fashion. Army beat the brakes off of them.
What happened to Air Force?
Don't know. I mean, the quarterback went down for a little while. He come back and played. I don't know what happened up there.
They were rolling.
They were rolling, folks.
They lost their air attack.
Wow. Boom. When Air Force plays a Russian team that averages 4.7 yards or more a carry, they're 4-11 against the spread. On the road after a loss, they're 5-10 against the spread. They're 2-5 in their last 7 games against the spread. Meanwhile, Boise State at home versus conference opponents 13-6, as favorites 16-10 in the last 5 years. And when they play a team on a losing streak of 3 or more games, they are 27-10 since 2000. Give me Boise State minus 6.5. Saturday, 4 o'clock, Fox, the Apple Cup. Washington State travels to Husky Stadium. Washington's 16.5-point favorite. As an underdog of 14 or more points, Washington State's 21-4 ATS. Revenge in a loss, 11-4 ATS. Against top 25 opponents, 6-2. Against top 5 opponent, 5-2. Meanwhile, Washington, after a conference win, 13-24 and 1 ATS against the spread. Against Pac-12 opponents, 7-17 and 1 against the spread. And at Husky Stadium, 2000, 63-84 and 1 against the spread. Give me the Cougars plus 16.5, and I think they're live for the upset. If good Cam shows up and does not give them the ball 3 times, I think they got a shot.
Upset alert.
Then we got 2 blowouts of the week. We're going to go back to the well with Penn State. Penn State's 9-2 on the season, 6-3 ATS. They're laying 21 against Michigan State. This is Friday night, 7:30 on NBC. Penn State versus opponents that are non-ranked, 7-1 ATS as a favorite, 12-2-1 in their last 15 games. After a win of 20 or more points, 8-3-1. As a favorite of 14 or more points, 4-1. That's this year. Against conference games, they're 10-4-1 against spread. Meanwhile, Michigan State 4-7 on the year, cannot go to a bowl. They pretty much melted in. We figured that out a couple of weeks ago. When they played the Big Ten in the last 50 games, they're 18-30-2 against the spread. When they play a team that averages 32 or more points, they're 0-9-1 against the spread. Penn State averages 37.5 points a game.
Wow.
As an underdog of 20 or more points, Michigan State is 2-6 against the spread. This is blowout city. This is absolutely 45-6, something like that. It's going to get bad. And we know Penn State's a bully team. They're a bully team.
When he gets an opportunity to run it up.
He's a bully team.
Right.
So that's got blowout all over it. And then my other one, man, and I hate to do it to y'all, UGA. They got to go to Atlanta and play. Them Yellow Jackets, they're laying 24.5. But I'm going to lay the 24.5 as my second blowout of the week.
All right, so I'm going to jump right in here just to follow up what Jeff just said. Georgia versus Georgia Tech. The Bulldogs haven't lost to Georgia Tech in Atlanta since 1999. Streak 11 wins, so I think that's going to continue. So I've got Georgia to cover. Kentucky at Louisville. I'm going to take Louisville at the -7. I think Kentucky's on the struggle bus right now.
I agree with that, too. I had that one circled.
Yep. Thank you, Jeff. And then Pittsburgh versus Duke. Duke is a 6.5-point favorite. I like Duke in this game. All right.
I like it. So I got a couple of red alerts here, Jeff. We are either going to win big together,
we're gonna ride or sink, baby.
We're going to sink together. I'm starting off my Thursday with Ole Miss, wearing out Mississippi State. I'm taking Ole Miss at minus. You said 10.5. I had it at minus 10, but
It might be. When
whatever,
I did mine, it could be 10.
whatever it is. Well, you know,
As long as it's 11 or less, right?
right? They're gonna beat about 20. I think so. Anyway, so then moving into Friday. Let's move into Friday. I got. I'm right there, man. I got Missouri covering 7 over Arkansas at Arkansas.
Look,
Schrader's too strong.
and Drink loves to whoop their ass, so he's going to do, and he don't mind running. Hey, people don't realize he's like a little Steve Spurrier. The little son of a bitch will put as many points on the board as he can, and laugh about it, in the press conference.
Yeah, yeah, it happens. Things happen. I'm riding right there with you again. Friday night, Penn State blowing out Michigan State. It don't matter if they play at Michigan State, at Penn State. It's gonna be bad. So I'm riding that one with you. Oregon, I got Oregon covering. They're gonna cover 13.5 at home. So Oregon State just can't run with them. And moving into Saturday, I got Florida State is going to cover that 6.5 against Florida. Especially with Graham Mertz gone. Florida might not.
It's going to be hard.
Florida might not score.
It's going to be hard, man.
It's going to be bad. I got Michigan. I'm going to go ahead and ride with them at home. I'm going to take Michigan covering the 3.
I hope you're right.
I think they cover. And then I'm taking Washington State in those 16.5. So Washington State, again, we just talked about it. Potential upset alert. I'd love to, mainly because I just want it so bad that I'm saying that, but I really don't think they can win. But I hope so. Let me rephrase that. I think they have the ability to win the game. I don't think they will. If it was at home, I think we got a real upset
if it was
alert.
in the Palouse?
But at Washington, I think it's going to be. But I'll take the 16.5 and ride with them. So that's what I got. Bring it on, Joshy Poo.
All right, my picks this week are Ole Miss. I think they're going to absolutely demolish Mississippi State. So on Jeff's team there, they're going to cover the 10. I'm on Jeff's team again, Iowa and Nebraska, for the show special, under 26. Both of these teams are averaging 18 points each on the year, but this is going to be a defensive battle, it seems, and not many points will be scored. I'm going to take Michigan minus the 3.5 versus Ohio State. I think Michigan in the big house comes and gets the job done. And then Colorado. I'm going to take the 2020.
Last chance.
I'm going to take the 22.
You are too much.
Hey, but you know what? He's been winning with Colorado in the points this year.
Yeah, and hope
He's down
they
100.
somehow.
What do you think?
Well,
I really am thinking about taking the money line on Colorado here because I think they're just going to come out and just whoop ass on this Utah team and take me over the proverbial threshold of that 5 wins to get my money. So, yeah, go Colorado Buffs.
Well, look, real quick, there's one game that I was going to play, but I just laid off of it. But it's something everybody needs to keep going.
Alabama Auburn?
Oh, hell no. If I play that, anyway. This game is going to be very interesting because there's a point to be proved or a award to be won. A&M's going to Baton Rouge. And I think last week they proved that they won't Daniel. They're going to do everything they can. They saw Bo get 6 touchdowns. Well, guess what? Daniels had 6 throwing and 2 rushing last week. So there's a point to be proved by Brian Kelly. He's going to do everything in his power to put it on whoever gets in the way. And this is an A&M team that looked out of sync last week. They got a new coach. They're probably down to their 3rd-string quarterback. Don't know for sure if Max Johnson's going to get to play or not. So they're probably going to be down to their 3rd-string quarterback. As bad as LSU's defense is, whatever, that might just be enough to keep Daniels in the game all 4 quarters. They're going to try to run it up. He wants them to win the Heisman. So everybody keep your eyes on that one. LSU is 11.5 point favorite, I think it is. Yeah, 11.5, and the total went from 68.5 to 66.5, but that's still up there. So they're expecting fireworks.
All right, my stay in the truck this week is going to go out to the LSU women's basketball team. I'm kind of sick of seeing them in the news. They're having a terrible year. Angel Reese, their all-star, who is just nothing but a bad attitude and a pompous, kind of arrogant basketball player, in my opinion. She's missed the last couple of games. Coach Kim Mulkey's been super vague and like almost cryptic in her answers about her. And, you know, it's just a bunch of drama and it's a bunch of bullshit. And it's probably why you could take that sports announcer that put up $1 million for the best
Clay Travis.
Yeah, Clay Travis said he put up $1 million for the number one high school boys team to beat the women's WNBA champions. And then on top of that, he threw in it would probably be the most watched game of the entire WNBA season. I fully agree with everything he said. I think it's because of this kind of bullshit going on with this LSU women's team and the fact that nobody really cares.
Yeah. And apparently they're trying to make that happen.
I hope so. They got
Are you serious?
Yeah, they got that state championship team out of Las Vegas. Every guy on the team is taller than every woman.
Yeah.
Like the woman's big man, you know, the center for the women's team. I forgot what she was, maybe like 6'5" or 6'7" or something. The entire high school boys team is that tall. Like it's a matchup nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, not to hate on women, but a funny little quick story. We were I was at UGA from 98 to 2002, and we used to go up to Ramsey and run ball at the gym every night. And the women's team was pretty good back then. And they showed up on the court, basically, and you just showed up and waited in line, and the winner stayed on the court. Well, the women's team comes up. We're playing, just me and my buddies. Playing, we win. The women's team comes out on the court. They beat us, but they beat us 11-10 on, like, a last shot. So I was like, holy shit, we almost beat the women's basketball team in Georgia.
And y'all are a bunch of non-basketball players.
Yeah, just a bunch of scrubs running basketball in the gym.
Well, there's that other women's swimmer, male swimmer that just transgender swimmer that just switched to the women's team this week and set a bunch of records. They're talking like, stop talking about this shit. Like, stop talking about it. Stop giving these assholes publicity. You know, they're just doing it. I don't know, man. Fuck this.
So is Angel Reese pregnant?
I don't know if she's pregnant or she's just got diarrhea of the mouth and starts running her mouth at practice. There's something weird going on, but I mean,
I think she might have got knocked up by one of the old boys on the LSU basketball team.
Oh,
that would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. Not that we'll ever find. I mean, soon, eventually, it'll come out. But
it'll come out one way or the other.
9
right?
months from now.
Well, no, 9 months.
So LSU women's basketball, stay in the truck.
Stay in the truck.
So my stay in the truck goes out to pro golfer Just Luton. During Sunday's final round of the DP World Tour Championship, Luton drove his ball into the woods on the 9th hole. In his frustration, he threw his driver and it landed and stuck up in the tree. The problem is the driver never came down and the limb was too high to reach. Luton and his caddy went over and was throwing some additional clubs up to try to knock it out. In addition, they ended up getting 2 more clubs stuck up in the tree. In order not to be penalized for slow play, Luton had to continue the hole with 11 clubs, ending up with a bogey on the hole. Luckily, Luton's 8-month pregnant wife and some colleagues were able to get his clubs out of the tree for him to finish the round with a full set, shooting a 3-over par 73. He ended up in 48th place. Just Luton, stay in the truck.
Stay in the truck. I don't have a great one this week, so I'm just going to bash on the Tulane Green Wave fans. You are 10-1, 7-0 in your conference. You're playing the UTSA Roadrunners, which are 8-3 and 7-0 in the conference. In your rivalry game, you've got a stadium that holds 30,000 people. It's in New Orleans, Louisiana, and your tickets are selling for $4 a piece to get in the game. So get out there and support your fans. Tulane Green Wave, a rivalry game. With this big of implications, should not be selling tickets for $4 a game. So.
Are they playing at home or are they playing in the dome?
They're playing at home and not in the dome. They're playing at Ullman Stadium outdoors.
So I've got a factoid for you. Did you know that Tulane was one of the original founding teams of the SEC?
Oh, yep. That's a nice little tidbit.
Yeah, look at that.
Imagine getting SEC tickets for $4 a piece.
Not happening.
Mine's again, I'm going back to Major League Baseball. They just kill me. So now we're going to change the pitch clock again with runners on base. Okay. Number 1, we got a pitch clock. to speed the game up, right? Okay, everybody loves it. Blah blah blah, all that, whatever.
It was working all right.
Yeah, it
wasn't
did speed it up about 25 minutes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that doesn't mean I like it. But anyway, everybody else. So, but now, that wasn't good enough. Now, if you got a runner on base, the pitch clock goes from 20 seconds to 18 seconds. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Why?
It speeded up about 6 minutes more game is what they said.
Well, they figured, they were probably taking too much time. You didn't need the whole 20 seconds.
You can't, this is baseball, man. The pitchers have to, they have to figure, you got to constantly, when you're pitching on that mound and you got a guy on first, number one, you can't throw over there, but
Twice.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, what are we doing, man? This is
they can sell one more commercial.
Well, maybe that's what they're doing. But
Did they get rid of the dumb overtime or extra innings rule where
not
you
yet.
immediately put a runner on second base?
No, but-
that's the dumbest part of the rule.
I hate that. That's
Yeah.
fake baseball. But they don't do it in the playoffs or in the World Series.
Right.
I like it. I mean, these guys play 162 games a year. They're playing night after night. You get to that 10th inning, last guy got out, needs to go to second base.
Yeah,
I like it.
they should just shorten the schedule. Period.
They're focused on the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah,
You know, instead of trying to shorten these 162 games, why are you playing 162 games?
no, it's
And why does 60% of your teams get in the playoffs?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway,
You're focused on the wrong
Money.
stuff.
well, yeah, of
MLB,
course, absolutely.
stay in
Money,
the truck.
It's all
Yeah,
about
MLB,
money.
stay in the truck.
Stand truck.
That's it for this week's show. We really appreciate you tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe, and leave us some comments. Let us know how we're doing. Stay in the truck.